You ready, Cupcake? Huh? You ready, Cupcake? Come here. Ah. Yeah, you can be part of the podcast. You guys say the same? She's like, what the heck? Alright. You ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome to another episode of Do You Really Know God? This episode is Why Do We Choose Life Over Death? I'm going to start off with Psalm 23:4.
Well, before Isaiah gave us the idea for this topic.
Yes, Isaiah.
So,
Definitely.
thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So, the big question is why do we choose life over death? Is it fear?
Is it fear? Is it something more?
Oh, by the way, new podcast, we got Cupcake.
Yeah, we got Cupcake. The reason I'm going to be homeless next week. But as far as, I think it is a fear, like we were talking about, but I think it's like a fear of the unknown. Because it's one of those things where even as a believer, you have those times where you doubt. And when you doubt, you wonder, is there really anything? Or what's the case?
But then that's when I come into the era of, if you have doubt, you're not a true believer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's a fear of the unknown, like you said. But some of it, I think, too, could be everybody's afraid of what you're going to miss when you're dead. What are you going to miss out on?
Right.
Like, I know everybody has, they call a bucket list. And they all hoping that when they get to that point of the golden age and that old and decrepit, that they don't have no regrets.
All right.
Of something they didn't do. You gotta think about it though. When you die and you go to heaven, it's gonna be more wonderful and beautiful than this earth could ever even deliver to you.
And it's kind of like what we were talking about last week. Our brain cannot fathom it.
Yes.
The human brain cannot understand, like we talked about multiple times on the podcast, we cannot understand eternity.
Yeah.
We cannot understand
Happiness. Full happiness.
Yeah, pure joy. We cannot understand what was here before God or who created God. And the answer being God created God. That our brain does not accept those answers. And dying and what happens when you die is another one of those. Because, I'm sorry, I find it very hard to believe, even if you are the truest believer, you still have that slight bit in your head because your brain itself cannot understand it.
I don't know, I can disagree with that. Because I 100% believe and truly believe, and I have no fear of it.
Right. But if you were to die, we'll put it this way. If you were to be on the brink of death and people, you hear people saying, oh, I see angels or blah, 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 when they're dying. If you don't, would there not be any question in your head and be like, oh, everyone else is seeing angels, maybe
Nah.
this is wrong?
No, I would not. See, I have faith that God has me. I have full faith. And I also have the reality that the only two things that you can count on in our lifetime is taxes and death. And the only two things that you can guarantee, you can't stop it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is because everybody will always have that little doubt in the back of their head about almost everything they do. No matter how many times someone says it to them, no matter how good they think it is or how good it's being to them, they always have that small little voice in the back of their head.
I mean, I have doubts of a lot of things in my life. A lot of life choices. I have doubts of why I did. But when it comes to death, I have no doubt. I welcome it. I'm ready for it. I am ready to meet my Maker. I have full faith in what God has in store for me in the afterlife. I do know I am dreading the judgment.
Yeah.
Because I know I've done my wrong. And I know I'm going to be punished for it. And I had a talk with somebody at one point about it of, what do you think the judgment is? What do you think the punishment is? That I don't know, and that is what I fear.
All I'm saying is I hope it's graded on the curve. That's all I'm saying.
All I hope is that it's true that he's a forgiving God.
What's another one of the verse? Oh, there's another good one. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. And so that kind of goes in part of the question, is it just fear? And I don't fully believe it is just fear. And me and Dad were just talking about this a little bit before the podcast. But I think the fear of death is less of fear of death and more of the devil trying to control you. Because if you're scared to die, if you have those doubts of dying, you're going to do a lot of crazy things because YOLO. You don't want to miss out on anything.
And you know what? When Adam and Eve was created, death was never a thing.
Exactly.
Until Eve ate from the fruit that the devil talked her to. And then it opened Pandoras Box. It gave us doubt. It gave us deceit. Gave us lust.
You're mixing religions there.
Oh, right.
Pandoras Box is Greek.
Oh, it's a phrase. So there's it opened up all these sins that created death.
Yeah.
I want to do John 11:25 and 26. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? I do believe that, because here's the thing, death is actually man-made perception, I guess we could say.
Yeah.
It's actually a man-made perception. Because technically, according to Jesus and according to the Bible, when we die, we don't die, we actually live. We go into our new life. So you're still living.
Yeah.
Man made it death. And you talk about Lazarus when he died. Lazarus died and married his mother or his wife, and that sent a messenger to Jesus. Jesus was not around. Now, how the story goes, it took the messenger a day to get to Jesus. Lazarus was dead. And the messenger told Jesus that. Jesus sent a message back to them and said, no, Lazarus is asleep. I'll be there in a couple days.
Don't mean to sidetrack a little bit. But how did messengers find people back in the day?
Good question.
Because think about it, they had no clue where Jesus was. They'd just be like, hey, do you know who Jesus of Nazareth is? Yeah, I've heard of him.
Well, they knew where he was going. Like, he made it known to people where he was traveling the city. So they knew the city. And probably not exactly where he was in the city.
But that's even rough anyway, because you know what? You know how many times I said I'd be in a city for an hour and really I was just there for half an hour?
Yeah, but back then...
And on to the next one?
Back then you're on foot.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
You're not leaving too quickly. Like they say where Lazarus was to where Jesus was a day travel.
I'm just saying, these messengers they got need to be given some type of an award. Because, like, hey, you know
at
that...
least some recognition.
Yeah, you know that Jesus guy? Yeah, and you tell him this message. Do you know where he is? No.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, let's go.
So after a day travel, then the messenger gets to Jesus and tells him, hey, Lazarus is dead. Jesus said, no, Lazarus is asleep. Tell them I'll be there in 3 days. Sent the messenger back. Messenger spent another day going back to them, saying, hey, Jesus said he'll be here in a couple days, but Lazarus is asleep, so don't worry about it. And they're like, no, he's dead. What are you talking about? He's asleep. He's dead. And then Jesus actually continued what he was doing for another day. Did not go back. Then on the 4th day, after Lazarus died, when Jesus going back to the town to see Lazarus. And that's when he brought Lazarus back to life. Now, he brought Lazarus back to life. And he said, Lazarus was dead. And then I can't remember if I read it in the Bible or somewhere else. Lazarus was very unhappy that Jesus brought him back to life.
Alright, that is in the Bible.
Because he got to see the glory of the kingdom of heaven. And now you brought him back to earth.
Yeah.
So he's like, what the heck? I just having a bit with God, man. What the heck happened here?
Gotcha. Not ready yet.
Sorry, psych. Ow, I got pain again. What the heck? I had no pain a couple of years.
April Fools.
So, it is known that Lazarus was very unhappy that they brought him back. Here's some of the things that go on too. Is us as the living, we are selfish. So when somebody dies, we cry and we're gonna miss them and blah blah. We don't think on our other turn. Maybe they're finally no more pain. They're at peace. They're not being taxed. They don't have to pay $7 a gallon for gas no more. They're at peace. They're with God. But us as humans, we're going to be like, oh, we miss them and we don't want them dead and we want them back. Why do you want them back? You want them back because of your own selfishness. You don't want them back for their best interest.
Right.
Their best interest is to be with it. Well, hopefully their best interest is to be in the afterlife. I won't say definitely because they might go to the other place that ain't so happy and they might be happy to be back.
Right. And this one I think is pretty powerful. Hebrews 2:14 and 15. Since therefore the children share in flesh and blood, he himself likewise partook of the same things, that through death he might destroy the one who has the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver all those who fear of death were subject to lifelong slavery. And I think that's really powerful because the whole point of it and the whole message I get from it at least is saying, hey, God's going to come back. Jesus is going to come back. And he's going to kill the devil.
Yep.
But before that happens, if you're scared of death, you're all slaves of the devil. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying before, is the devil's using it as a, we'll say, marketing strategy.
He's using it as a tool.
Yeah, he's sitting there and saying, oh, you're scared to die, huh? Okay, let's shake your faith this way. Let's do this and that. And we're going to send these people into your life that are going to be bad influences, but you don't want to miss out because you only live once. And you don't want to, you're going to hang out with these people because you're scared to die. It's one of those things where it's a slippery slope.
It is. It's a very slippery slope. And I'm not saying don't ever mourn death because I can honestly say we just had that another tragic shooting at a school in Texas. And they banned 19 kids and 2 teachers that was slaughtered in Texas. I can honestly say that breaks my heart. These kids have not had a chance to experience life on Earth Not that it's a great thing right now, but
they didn't get to experience those gas prices.
They didn't get to experience anything on Earth yet, and they're young and they're innocent. To me, they don't deserve why anybody in their right mind would target any type of elementary school or school, period. Well, you really have issues.
I remember back in 2012 when the Sandy Hook one happened, and we were still living in Connecticut. What, about half an hour from?
About an hour.
About an hour away from there, and I'll never forget it because our school actually went on lockdown for a little bit because nobody knew where it was at first. We just knew that there was a shooting going on. And so they locked down our schools in Putnam for about an hour, I think it was, until they realized, oh, that's nowhere near here, we're good.
Yeah.
And so I remember I got out of school before Abby did because I was in middle school, and my mom picked me up, and she's like, hey, did they tell you about what happened? And I was like, yeah, it's crazy, it's scary. And she goes, don't tell your sister, because she's that age.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there, and it really clicked for me. I was like, wow. And when you speak about the innocence, and some of it is, the stories are just heartbreaking. Like, there's this one story that a teacher was telling that there was a little boy who had just started karate lessons, and he went to his teacher, and his teacher was crying, trying to hide them and all this, and he said, don't worry, I'll go get him, I know karate. And it's just one of those things, is like, as a normal human and an adult, you understand knowing karate don't do nothing to an AR-15.
Yeah.
But as a little kid, karate's the coolest thing ever.
And you're Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee.
Yeah, bullets bouncing off your fist, and it's just one of those things that it breaks your heart.
Yeah, I mean, it truly breaks your heart. Death is, as a living human being, death is very heartbreaking for us that are still living. But in the spiritual world, and you think about it spiritually, death is a blessing because it puts you back on into heaven, where you get eternal love and life with God and with Jesus. So, yeah, it's painful, and it's painful to see, but in some sense we've got to change our mindset to where death is actually a very beautiful thing. It gives you your opportunity to go meet God, meet your Maker, meet Jesus.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you live right, but...
No, you'll still get to meet him. It's just, do you want the short, free experience? Or do you want the premium all-access experience?
Yeah. I mean, there is... Death is something, like, I've never... Last time I think I feared death, I was a kid. And at that point in my life, I thought death meant you just don't exist in darkness.
Actually,
I was young at the time.
It's crazy that you say that, because I don't know if I ever told you this. I think I might have shared it on the podcast before, but I remember one specific moment. And I love my mom, but she's not the most comforting person. And I was probably about 7, 8 years old. And I was laying in bed. Now, mind you, I had already known 3 very important people in my life that died at this point. And so I was laying there, and I was like, I wonder what they're doing. And then, like, it kicked in. It's like, wait. When you die, it's nothing. I was like, wait. But all I'll see is black all the time. And I won't hear anything. And I won't be able to think anything. And I won't be able to do anything. I was like, it's gonna be so weird.
And it's funny, you think about that as a kid, right?
Yeah.
But you think about it. If there was nothingness after death, you're not gonna see, feel, or see nothing.
Exactly.
It's gone.
But that was the part.
But our brain cannot wrap around
nothing.
Gone.
Yeah. And I worked myself up so bad to the point where I struggled going down the stairs because I was hyperventilating. Because I was freaking out. And I remember my mom, she comes up to me, she's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" You know, or actually I think I sat next to her on the couch. And I'm struggling to get my words out because I just can't even breathe at this point. And I'm just like, I don't want to die. She's like, "You're not going to die anytime soon." I was like, "No, you don't understand. I don't want to die." And she's like, "Why not? Let's play this game. Why not?" Right? So I'm like, "Because it's going to be weird." And she's like, "What do you mean it's going to be weird?" And she goes, alright, I was like, "All I'll see is black. I won't be able to hear anything. I won't be able to say anything. I won't be able to think anything. I won't be able to wiggle my toes." I was like, "It's going to be weird." And she goes, "No, you'll be able to go to heaven with God." And I was like, that was one of the first times ever really hearing and understanding that. And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, you'll be able to go to heaven and, you know, it's just paradise." And my mom, she's like, "It's just paradise." And she didn't know really how to explain it to me, right? So I'm sitting here thinking she's just coming up with something just to make me feel better. And so I'm freaking out. And I said, "I don't want to end up like Auntie Dawn and Gramps and freaking out." And she's just like, "I don't even know what to do." She's like, "Just go to bed."
How about when she told you, "You're going to die anyways, the way I'll do."
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then after that, I was like, "No, I don't want to die." She's like, "You know what, Devin? You're going to die at some point." And I was just, game over.
How you gonna do?
I love you, Mom.
Matthew 10:28. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell.
That's a really powerful one.
That's powerful because, like I always said, I fear nothing on this earth. There is nothing I fear. You can do anything to me. I'm not going to fear it. It's not going to bother me. The only thing I fear is God himself. God himself is the only thing that can destroy the soul.
Right.
Nothing on this earth can destroy the soul. It can destroy the body. Can kill me bodily wise, but can't hurt my soul. My soul still goes on. The only thing that can actually destroy everything and then make that nothingness happen is God himself.
But here's my question. I do got a question. God can create nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would he do, though?
What would he do?
Because think about it. Alright, God was there when there was nothing, right?
Yeah.
And he created earth, boom, blah, 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 right? Now, us as kids, we're sitting there thinking it's going to be so weird. Because we can't move, we can't talk about it.
But God can still move.
I'm sure he could, but that's a reality for him. Because you got to think about it. For us, if there's nothing, we're just boom. Like, nothing.
Nothing. You're done.
With him, he can still feel, except there's nothing. He can still talk, but nobody's listening. There's nothing. For God, that must be really weird.
That's hell for God.
That's what I'm thinking.
Talk about getting bored in retirement. Man.
That's God's retirement plan. Just, boom. I'm done.
You gotta... we're kind of making it funny because it is kind of... It's not as sensitive of a topic as what people make it out to be. Like, people over-dramatize death quite a bit. But death is not really anything to be afraid of. And if you believe in God and believe in Jesus and do as the Bible says, you're going to go on to heaven. You're going to go on to eternal life. Jesus, when he was crucified on the cross, he basically conquered death.
Yeah.
So death is technically no more. And it talks about it in the Bible. Jesus talks about it in the Bible that he conquered death. That there is no death. There's just life after earth. On earth, we're in this humanly shell just to get through on earth. But when you die, all you're doing is you're not dying. You're leaving this humanly shell to go to the spiritual.
Well, one thing that I think of, and I'm going to lead this into a verse, is a lot of places and a lot of people talk about God's love. And, making me on. John 3:16, one of the most famous Bible verses out there.
I love it.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. And that's basically saying that God gave Jesus his son, and all you have to do to go to heaven is believe and follow Jesus.
Yeah.
And
you gotta spread his word and talk his name. You can't be ashamed of him. Because if you're ashamed of him in life, he's gonna be ashamed of you in death.
But the thing is if the Bible talks about it, people talk about it, it's almost everywhere when you're talking about religion. If God loves the world that much, to where everybody talks about it, it's written probably thousands of times in the Bible about how much God loves the world. Do you really think he'd just make it end like that?
No.
Do you really think that he would, like these children who unfortunately were massacred, I think it was Tuesday, they barely got a chance to live. Do you think that he just said, you know what, yeah, boom, sorry, you lost. Nothing I can do.
I mean, Revelation says it all anyways. In the book of Revelations, it talks about the end of man, per se. But after the great battle, and heaven wins, the devil and all the sinners are condemned to the lake of fire for 1,000 years. After that 1,000 years, God then chooses what he's doing with the souls of the lake of fire. Some, they say, will be saved. Some will be perished. Then he is going to recreate the earth like he wanted to in the beginning as the Garden of Eden. And then we're all going to be souls on this earth.
Imagine though, imagine you're just like a normal person. You're not great, you're not bad. And you die, you get thrown in the lake of fire. And there's just this one coworker you can't stand. And they're not bad, they're not great either. And they get thrown in the lake of fire. And you both get saved at that last minute. And you just pop up in the Garden of Eden. And you just look at them like, oh, you're here? Jesus. I thought I got away from you.
May happen, you never know. But I would imagine you're in your molecule state because you're probably not going to be in human form no more.
Yeah, you're spiritual entity.
So hopefully that annoying coworker is no longer annoying and maybe hopefully has some common sense now.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
We'll find out, I guess.
So there's also a big question that I've been asked 3 times already in the last couple months is, do you think you remember when you die? When you're dead, do you remember this life? Which I say is a good question because it doesn't really talk about that at all in the Bible. My
I feel like you do.
theory is you do, because this life is a learning stepping stone. You to go move on to the spiritual realm of heaven, you had to have learned a lesson from your life on earth.
I feel like you do. But, you know, a lot of the knowledge we as people have on that is based on movies. And movies are written based on what people want.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very cool sentiment to think, like, you die and you go on and still remember certain people. Like, if you think about it, it says it in country songs a lot. It says it in a lot of songs and a lot of media in general. It says, we'll meet again. We're talking about someone dying, and how just because someone's gone doesn't mean they're gone forever.
Yeah.
Because you'll see them again in heaven. And, I mean, if the case was that you don't remember, that would honestly suck. Because imagine, like, your mom or, you know, really important people in your life, they die. And then you go your whole life thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to see them. I can't wait. And then you die, and then you're just up there, and you're like, who are you? Who are you? I mean, obviously it wouldn't be sad in the moment because you wouldn't know.
But the thing is I think you do remember because of the fact life is a learning curve. Life is the stepping stone to get you to heaven.
Well, there's that, but it's also a scientifically proven fact that when you die, your brain, even if you die by brain injury, your brain is active for about anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Your brain stays in your body. Your soul comes out.
But they also say, now we've talked about this on the podcast before, how your soul leaves your body too. How unexplainably people are like 10 whatever pounds lighter. They say that happens when your brain stops working.
Yeah.
I've actually heard a theory that what it is your judgment. That is your judgment. When you die, that brain activity, that is your judgment. And while that's happening, your memories in your life is essentially, to make it easier for everyone to understand, is being downloaded into your soul. So you still have the memories and all that, and your soul goes.
I'm going to do Revelations 21:4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So basically, it's just telling you right there, is when you die, you're going to have no more pain, you're going to have no more sorrow, you're not going to cry, you're not going to need to cry, you're going to be happy. No more sorrow. You're not going to miss loved ones who died because you're all together now, because you're all dead. And you're in the spirit world. It's actually a very beautiful thing. If you really read the Bible and the accounts that happen in the Bible and different stuff, death is actually a very beautiful thing once it unfolds. And it's a beautiful thing to go to. And you don't have Joe Biden as your president. And you don't have $7 a gallon gas. So you don't have to worry about it. So right there's a beautiful thing, right there alone. I think a lot with this subject that we've been talking about, I think a lot of people have multiple reasons why they're afraid of death. Or don't want to die. One, I think a lot of people fear death because everybody can't get over this life, not understand that after death, after life, is a better life, and people just have it in a thing that they don't want to lose this body or lose this mind or lose their memories or whatever they may think they're going to lose of living. I think number two is, like you said, a lot of people can't wrap their head around that. When you die, you're not dead. It's just a new beginning to the new life. And people cannot wrap their heads around that.
Yeah.
And the third thing, I think people are afraid to die because they're afraid of leaving people behind. Leaving loved ones behind. They're afraid, you know what, if I die, then my son won't be able to take care of himself, and who's he gonna go to, or my daughter, or my grandkids, or if I die now, I won't see my grandkids have grandkids, you know, or have kids. I won't be able to see this. Everybody wants to see, and that's the human mind kind of being selfish in a sense, to where we want to see everything, we don't want to let it go and move on to better.
Right.
That being said, what do you think your top is gonna be?
Mine is gonna be a little bit of a weirder one, I guess, but I want you to type the first word that pops in your head when you hear the word death.
Huh. Cool.
First thing, if someone were to come up to you and do that, I don't even know what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? The game
Yeah.
where you just go and you say something and you have the first thing that pops in your head.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the game, but I know exactly what you mean.
If you were to do that about death, what would it be? What's the first thing that would pop in your head?
Love. Okay. Mine is kind of a two-part. Again, yes and no. Anyways, first part. If, kind of a challenge. If somebody walked up to you right now, put a gun to your head, says, if you love Jesus, you die. You deny Jesus, you live. What are you going to do? Is your love for Jesus stronger than the fear of death?
Yes.
What would you do? And then
Quick counterpart on that. That actually happened. I mean, it's happened multiple times.
Oh, it's happened many times.
But at the
happened to all the disciples.
At the Columbine shooting in 1999.
You told me,
there was a girl who was super religious and she was a junior, and they had shot at the school at lunchtime, and they started from the parking lot, went in the building, and I believe it was Eric, and Eric was the name of the shooter. And the girl's name, I can't remember, I want to say it was Sarah, and she was sitting there tutoring another kid. She was like one of those, like, freaky good at school people.
Yeah. She
was just tutoring this kid, and I think it was Eric, the school shooter, walked up and said, just blew him away, right away. Walked up, put the gun to her head, and she was known for being very religious, very outspoken about it. He said, "You still believe in God?" And she said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'm prepared to meet your maker." And blew her head off. That's one of the things is like, it's one of those, there's a passage from a song, let me see, and I just love it. I think I actually brought it up on the podcast before, but it's from the song Ride by 21 Pilots, and it says, "I die for you," that's easy to say. We have a list of people that we would take. A bullet for them, a bullet for you, a bullet for everybody in this room, but I don't seem to see any bullets coming through. Metaphorically, I'm the man, but literally, I don't know what I do. And those lyrics basically mean, like, we can sit here and come up with these hypotheticals all day. Hey, what would you do if this happened? It's just like, I know me personally, maybe I'm weird, but I would sit there and think, oh, if a school shooter came in this classroom right now, oh, I would mess him up. First, I throw the disc at him, and in my head, I'm like this, action movie hero.
But no, it's good to be prepared, because I always got scenarios going in my head. Like, every move I do, like, even when I leave here at night, when I'm by myself at 4:30 in the morning, leaving here, while I'm walking to the truck, my brain is going through scenarios. What if somebody runs up to me with a gun? What am I going to do? What if this happens? What if that happens? My brain's going through different scenarios. What am I going to do? And I think that's a lot for people, it's like a defense mechanism, so you can be prepared. Because you know what? The people who die are the people unprepared.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I do that too. But it's what I love about the lyrics, and the reason I bring it up is I want everybody to answer that question you just asked honestly, because everyone's, of course, you're not gonna say you wouldn't, because that in turn would make you, it would shake your faith. It would make you feel like God wouldn't love you anymore. There would be all kinds of factors if you said no, versus there would be all kind of beneficial because you think maybe you can trick God if you were to say yes.
But you gotta think about this. Even the most loyal of disciples of Jesus Christ, Peter, denied Jesus Christ 3 times the night Jesus was taken. And Jesus told him, you are going to deny me 3 times tonight. And there'll be 3 different bells that's going to go off, and you're going to deny me 3 different times tonight. And Peter's like, Jesus, I'll never deny you. 3 times, Peter denied that he even knew Christ to save him his own life. And then afterwards, he actually, they say, when Jesus was resurrected and he was meeting with the disciples again, Peter was the hardest for him to find. Because Peter went into hiding because he felt ashamed that he denied Jesus. He felt ashamed of it. And he didn't feel worthy when he did finally get up with Jesus when Jesus was resurrected. And he looked right at him and he said, I'm not worthy. You were right. I denied you 3 times.
Yeah. But the reason I bring that up is it's all cool to come up with these hypotheticals and make yourself sound like the good person, but I want you to honestly think about that. And if your answer is no, that is okay. That is an okay answer. But kind of to back up,
question yourself. If you say that you're going to deny Jesus to live,
I was gonna say I guess trailing on yours, really think about it. And if your answer is no, why is it no?
And you're going to think about this. I would rather take a bullet and keep my faith and know I'm going to heaven than to deny Jesus and now know, oh crap, I just denied him. So when I actually do die, is he going to deny me? Because he says, right, or it says right in the Bible, you believe in Jesus Christ and talk about me, I will talk about you to my Father in heaven. Basically, you deny me, I deny you type of mentality. So you got to think about it. If you talk about him and don't deny him, he's going to guarantee you passing to heaven. If you deny him and you go to heaven and you go, who are you? Huh? Nah, don't know you. Sorry. Devil, do you know this person? Oh, yeah. Okay, you're going down that way. Next hall to the left.
You're with him.
You're going to room 666, down the hall on the left. Watch the first step, it's a doozy, a little hot. My second part of this whole question is, if you're out and about, and I know the answer to most people, 2 different scenarios, so I guess this is a 3-part question. 1, if you're out and about and you're either spouse or children, somebody comes up and they tell you, you have a choice who I kill, you or them, what would you choose?
Me.
That's how it should be, but that's what. But on top of it, and this I know the answer for already, people don't even have to ask this question, but if you're out and about and you see a situation going on where people are doing bad and you can overtake the situation, are you going to do it? Or are you going to run?
No, we're going to take over. You know what kind of news coverage you get when you do that?
I'm going to take over, but most people, they either going to pull out the cell phone and video it, or they're going to run like little bitches, rather than helping somebody in need. But that's what I had. I'm hoping that listeners, your faith is strong, and you'll actually listen and don't deny Jesus.
But even if your faith isn't strong, it's okay. That's what we're here for.
You can make it strong. Talk to God. But note to self, if you're half asleep and driving half asleep, God is not a good co-pilot. Still pay attention to the road because he ain't going to tell you when to turn. Just saying. Thanks,
What did
God.
you want him to put a big yellow sign in the middle of the flash?
I wanted him to smack me up the head and say, dude, you just missed your turn.
Hey, you've already said
Something.
You said before, he doesn't give signs like that.
He certainly didn't. 5 miles outside of past my house. But anyways, I hope you have a great week.
And don't forget to have faith over fear.
Oh my God.
You ready, Cupcake?